right, my friends, welcome back to the comeback journey. Here with me is Ansh. We met on Facebook actually, and just got to talking over messaging, and we decided that it'd be a good idea for him to hop on the podcast. I'm super excited about it. This is my first international podcast, so it's really cool. You want to introduce yourself, and we'll go from there?
Yeah. So, hi guys, I'm Ansh. So, before I say anything, I'm an Indian. Currently, I'm in, and giving a bit about myself. So, I was born in Delhi, and then my parents shifted to Kuwait because of their jobs. So, in second standard, I was shifted to Kuwait, and so I did my schooling and everything there. And after my 12th, I'm back here doing college. So that's just a bit about me, I believe.
Okay. Do you have any siblings?
Right. So I have a smaller sibling. She is in the sixth standard right now. She is back in Kuwait with my family, and I'm in Delhi now.
So the sixth standard, is that like a grade level for school?
Yeah, grade level. So you have like first standard, second standard, or basically a primary level, I'd say. Primary.
Okay.
She's gonna move into middle school.
Okay. So, and how old are you?
So I'm 20.
You're 20. Okay.
Yeah, I'm 20.
So there's like a decent age gap between you
Right.
and your younger sibling.
True.
And your parents are still together?
Yes. They are.
Cool. So growing up, you said you grew up in Delhi and then moved to Kuwait. Is that correct?
Kuwait. Yeah. Yes.
Is that very different in terms of environment?
So obviously it is. As far as I can remember, because I've been in Delhi only till the second standard, so I don't really have a lot of memories. But if I do go back and recall, so my average day was like, I used to do my school, and I used to go to for like a tuition, not exactly like a tuition, but just to someone, because my mom was working and my dad had shifted to Kuwait before. So I used to go there. I used to just do the normal tasks, have lunch, sleep, play, and maybe just study a bit. And in the evening, my mom would bring me back, and then I would be with my mom playing games or going down and playing. So that's as far as the life in India was concerned, in Delhi basically. So when I shifted back to Kuwait, we didn't really have any families around. So I was literally like the only kid there for quite some time. So in that case, it was very, very different that, in India, I had people around me. I could, go out with them, play with them and stuff. But back in Kuwait, it was obviously different. So it was more about, just yourself. And, you maybe had like one or two people, that's it, to play with. And yeah, that's pretty much it. And the weather also there was like really, really hot. So.
And the weather was different in Delhi?
Yeah, I mean Delhi it's humid, right? But it's like a weather, you have around from 30 to 40 degrees even in the very hot months. But back in Kuwait it gets to like 50 degrees. So, and it's hot there, it's not humid, so it burns your skin.
And this is Celsius, right?
Yes. Celsius.
Okay.
So that was the reason, we didn't really I didn't really play much in my initial years in Kuwait. I did join coachings and stuff like for cricket and football, but that was much later.
Mm. And so as of now, you said that you are at your university, but you're stuck there.
Exactly, I wouldn't exactly say that I'm stuck there because I'm really not complaining. But so what actually happened was my exams got over on March 8th. And the flight back to Kuwait got suspended from March 6th. So the last flight going to Kuwait was March 6th. But anyway, I wasn't planning to go back right now because I had some other commitments in my college, and it was a 1 week break. So I'd rather stay back in Delhi. So I had no plans of going back to Kuwait anyway. But what I could have done is I could have gone to my home in Delhi. but I actually prefer to stay here due to like 2 or 3 reasons. There was, I mean, so I wanted to be a bit more productive. So I felt, if I have Wi-Fi and if I have network coverage and I have freedom and stuff, I'd be better off here.
Mhm.
So that's one reason why I stayed here. But initially I thought I might stay here for 15-20 days and then go back, but that going back thing never really came because then it was a lockdown. So
Yeah.
anyway, I'm kind of stuck here. Yeah.
So are you working on anything specific? You said you're trying to be more productive. Are you just like focusing
Right.
on school, or do you have like a side project?
Right. So as of now, what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to learn new skills. Right. So learning new skills and working on projects using those skills. If I have to just give an example, I'd say learning, Tableau, machine learning in Python, and these things. And working on a side project is basically I'm working with 2 other people. So that is like you might say like a dream for me. So we are working on that. So that if I have to just give you a brief about that, that's we are working towards a product or a platform, community platform for mental health and self growth. So we are working on that. So that's pretty much about how my day goes. Just try to learn new things, work on this, and yeah, that's it.
So mental health and self-growth, those are like two big things, right? And I feel like a lot of
Right.
people overlook them. Like anybody that doesn't struggle with that, like it has no form of like negative self-image, or their mental health is, solid and good, they don't really think
Yeah.
about stuff like that. So what got you into that?
Right. So I'd go with why specifically us three got into this. There are 3 people, so me and 2 other people. We're in the same college. So basically, mental health, right? Things like stress or anxiety. This is what I believe, right? I might be wrong, but this is what I believe. All of these things happen because of people around you, right? There's nothing within you that can give you stress or anxiety. So if I have to give you a certain example, you know you develop stress. For example, why do you have stress for exams? It's mostly not because you want to get very good grades or something like that. It's mostly because people have expectations from you. You fear judgment. You fear that, okay, if I do not get good marks, what are people going to think of me? But you get anxiety for like almost the same reason. You get into depression because of almost the same reason, because you fear what people are going to think about you after that. So basically we have all encountered something like this in our lives, where we have feared judgment, we have feared that. So we try to come up with something that, trying to get to the depth of this problem and trying to solve it. So that was basically our aim, that we felt that being scared and judgment from others is the depth of, or is the root of all cause of mental health issues, and to some extent self growth as well. So that is what we're trying to target.
I think that is, for one, I 100% agree that like worrying about other people's opinions and what they think about you is a terrible idea, and it's unfortunately something that we all do, right? We
Exactly.
all worry about like what are our parents going to think, what are our friends going to think, what is the random person walking down the street going to think when we're walking past
Exactly.
them, and it's really hard to break that, like that thought cycle,
Exactly.
and
Exactly.
try to stop it and shift to a different perspective. um how have you like tried to work through that?
So I wouldn't really say I've tried to work through it, but what I've just realized in my mind, and I've tried to train my brain in a certain way, telling it that whatever others think of you is not actually affecting you. Like if if you just stay in one position, close your eyes and think, whatever anyone else is doing to you, or whatever he or she is thinking about you, or anything of that sort, it's not affecting you. It's actually not affecting you in any way. you're just taking it upon yourself and letting it affect you.
Mm.
So a lot of people don't really realize this is like a very simple thing. When I say this, many people, oh, this is so simple, but they don't really realize that, because this is something that you need to realize from within. While hearing it and just saying, okay, I know about this, is not going to help you. You need
Mm.
to realize it from within.
Yeah.
So this is something that I realized, and then I try to change my thought process and train my brain. Okay, if he or she is thinking this about me, it doesn't matter to me. So that is how I've tried to get over things. So I might not say I'm completely over it, because it still to some extent does affect me, but I'm in a much better off position now.
Mm-hmm. I think it's very rare that somebody completely gets over that, and they never worry about what somebody else is going to think. But I agree. You said
I
something.
think I'd like to add like one more point to
Yeah,
this.
yeah, sure.
So I feel that you fear, for example, if I go back to the exam thing, right? You fear, you have stress because you might get better, you might get less marks. So there's one thing, that for every situation, if you're able to find a positive alternative, right? If you're able to find the positive side of that situation, you are less prone to judgment. Those judgments will not affect you
Mm-hmm.
if you can find the positive side and focus on that. That is another thing that I've realized, and this is something that I've been practicing, and I've kind of succeeded as well. So if I look at the positive side of the things, it completely distracts me from thinking, okay, what is he or she going to think about me. So that's one thing I'd like to.
Yeah, that's huge, right? That's tying into like your perspective, like how you
Right.
view things is everything. If you're
Exactly.
if you can see, and like you said earlier, like this is such a simple concept, and yet it's not easy. Like
Exactly.
you can tell somebody and it's like, oh yeah, that makes sense, but like it takes a lot of practice. Like you're literally training your brain to do something other than it's already doing. And that's,
Exactly.
it's hard work to be able to get to that point. But the perspective thing, man, if you're always looking at what the negative side is, or like what could go wrong, or what you could have done better, or what you should have done, things like that, that's a huge precursor to stress and anxiety. That's the foundation. I heard something the other day, or I saw something on the internet, and it said that anxiety is just you telling conspiracy theories about yourself. And I was like,
Exactly. Exactly.
like,
Completely agree with that.
yeah,
Right.
it's because it's just all these wild, crazy thoughts.
Exactly, and the point is, you you can actually control them, but the point is, instead of controlling them, you try to get rid of them. You keep thinking, okay, why am I getting thoughts? I need to stop thinking about them. I need to stop thinking about them, and that's exactly the point where you're wrong. Because what I feel is, the best way to do is, if you're feeling anxiety, sit at a place, in a silent place, close your eyes, and let that thought come in. Think about it. Just let it come in. Just think, okay, if this is what it is, how is it affecting me? What is actually happening? And then after like a brief, even if you think briefly for it for like even a minute or two, you actually get to realize that, okay, it's not doing anything to me. It's just me, you know taking it upon myself, and I don't really even have to. So
That's I'm glad you said that, 'cause I was gonna say something about that. Like you don't want to run away from the thoughts, like you can't, like eventually you can like train yourself to like not have those thoughts anymore, but if you are having them, you have to let them come, and you have to sit with
exactly,
them and like okay, like because like our brain, like if we have like some vague idea of like a scenario that might happen, and we don't know what's going to happen, that's going to build the anxiety. But if we can just sit with it and like pinpoint what exactly it is that we're anxious about, and we could be like, oh, that's not even that bad. You know, it seems if you can sit with it and like identify the thought and make it smaller, then it's not so intimidating.
Exactly. That's exactly my point. Just sit with it, let it come in,
Mm-hmm.
absorb, see the positive side of it, see what it actually is, and you'll see in no time you're over it. The only mistake that people do is they try to run away from it. You cannot run away from anything. Just face it.
Yeah, no, you can't run. I've tried it, it doesn't work.
Exactly.
So I'm amazed that you have this mentality and you're only 20.
Right.
I know, I mean, I feel, a large majority of people still struggle with this stuff, and they're, 20, 30, 40, 50 years old, and they,
Right.
they fail to come to this realization. Did you,
True. Exactly.
like, growing up, did you have any significant events in your life that would have been like the precursor to having stress or anxiety for you? Like, was there any like negative events in your life that maybe shaped you to get you to this mentality that you have now?
So going by that, I do not think I had like very very big events happening in my life, which shaped me this way. That which led me to thinking, okay, this is the time I need to start improving. I need to do this, right? But they were small things. So if I have to go back to school, I was a bit heavy, and I had premature balding, right? So back in school, I kind of used to hear these things every day, right? Regarding that, you're kind of fat and you have premature balding and all of that. And so these things were, so I used to take it in a very chill way, in front of them, I never showed it really affected me. And to be very honest, it didn't really affect me to a very, very huge level. But it was just something that, when I used to go back home, sometimes or the other, it used to be in my brain, it used to come up in my mind, okay, I need to get over this. You know, I somehow need to face this. If I'm fat, I need to get thin, right? Because of the way people are judging me. If I have premature balding, I need to find a way to get back my hair. Why? Because people are judging me, right? So I don't want people to judge me in a bad way. So I think these two things would probably add up to like two events which kind of uh, shaped me in this way. But I wouldn't say they were like very very major things, because I mean, I'll be very honest that there are people who are facing a lot more than this.
Mm-hmm.
And so I wouldn't say it was a very very big thing. But yeah, this was one thing which went on for, I guess, around 2.5 years in school. I mean, the last 2.5 years of school.
Yeah, and I mean, as a young kid, like, that's like, I'm sure initially that was hard for you to like, have these
It was,
people making
but
comments, But,
exactly, it was kind of hard, but it was about how you deal with it. So even at that time, honestly speaking, it wasn't something that led me into severe anxiety, severe stress, or anything of that sort. Yes, it, you might say, I was mildly stressed and mildly, I didn't really have anxiety, but yeah, mildly stressed and stuff. That's pretty much it as far as that situation was concerned.
yeah. So I just had a thought. Back with your younger sibling, do you guys have a good relationship, even though there's a large age gap?
Yeah, we pretty much do have an amazing relationship. So it's mostly like sibling relationships are more like kind of hitting each other, and just, I mean, there's love behind, right? But in front of them, you never really show them that love. So that pretty much sums up my relationship and hers. But yeah, there's this one thing. So because of the huge age gap, there might not be a lot of things that we can talk about. So we might not really, talk a lot as compared to some other sibling, pair of siblings. But as far as the love is concerned, or as far as the relationship is concerned, it's amazing. I might not show it, but I'll obviously like really really love her, and we
Hmm.
always and stuff. So yeah, the
Yeah,
relationship
that's
is
great.
amazing.
I have an older brother. He's 2 years older than me, and I have a younger brother who's 6 years younger.
Mm.
And growing up, um, my older brother and I, like, we were like really close, and then like not so close for a while. Um, but my little brother, he was, because of the age gap, we didn't like hang out a lot, and
Exactly. True.
there's, when you're, if you're 15 years old and your brother is 9, there's not a whole lot like that you have in common,
Exactly.
and
Exactly. Exactly.
now, we're getting older. I'm 28 and my brother is now 22, and so we're starting to like we relate on a lot more things, because
True.
he's getting to that age where he's not, like, he's just more mature overall.
Exactly.
He was, even like, he's a lot more mature than I was at 22, so like,
Mm.
it's easier to relate now.
Right.
But
So basically, the age gap between me and my sister is 10 years. So that's even more. So I
yeah,
think you kind of get it. As of now, I don't have a lot that I can talk to her about. So, but I think with time, it will eventually get there. So,
yeah. So how, so you're what, like halfway through college right now?
yeah, halfway through.
What is
Exactly.
your what is your degree? Like,
So I'm
what
doing
are you doing?
B.Tech in mathematics and computing.
Okay. That's gonna work well for the platform.
Yeah, pretty much.
So how long has this project been going on? Like, how long have you been working on it?
So we initially came up with the idea in January this year, and so there were brief discussions and all of that till I'd say May. Sorry, March.
Hmm.
When our exams ended. It was mainly after March 8th, when our exams got over. That was the time when we started taking this very seriously, and then started working on it a lot more, and started coming up with proper things and stuff. So right now, currently, if you ask, it's in the prototyping stage.
Mhm.
So we have a designer. He's doing that right now, as of now.
That's awesome. That's such a
Yeah.
cool idea, man. I can't get over it. Like, I didn't know, like, we had talked a little bit, and you said you were like working on this project, like when we were messaging
Right.
on Facebook, but I didn't know what it was. And now I know what it is, and I'm like, dude, this is awesome. That's such a great
Yeah.
idea.
Exactly. It's a great idea, but I'd say let's see how the audience responds to it.
Right.
So
That's the thing. Like, it's only as valuable as
exactly,
people that want it.
exactly.
But I mean, I think your intention behind it is good.
I hope so. It is from my side. I hope people can
Yeah.
realize that.
Yeah. I mean, my thought on it is, if you're, whatever you're doing, it doesn't matter what you're doing, but if you do it with good intention, and you have, you don't have any negativity behind the action, and it's very, pure, and like, all you want to do is better yourself and better the people around you. Like, I don't see how it could go wrong.
Exactly, but yeah, I mean, it all depends. So I believe in this one thing. People start with a cause, right? When they reach the midway, they're more focused on money,
Mm.
and that is one thing that I wouldn't want to reach that position. I'd want to So my goal in life, if you say in one line, is it's not about earning a lot, but having enough and having the right people with you, and actually being able to be truly happy rather than just running behind money and like, okay, I got this much, if I do this I'll get more. There's no point. So
Yeah.
that's one thing that I would keep in mind.
I think for sure, like the people that you surround yourself with are massively important. And
Exactly.
I think, money provides a lot of opportunity, but I don't think that should be the main motivating factor behind it.
Exactly.
I think
It matters. It matters till a point.
right, and like you said, like if you have enough to be comfortable, then that's really all you need, right? Like we have
Exactly.
we have basic needs, like we need food, water, shelter, right? And maybe in this day and age some form of transportation, but I mean there's public transportation, you can walk, whatever.
Exactly.
But if you have the necessities, anything more than that, that all that does is provide you with opportunity. And
Exactly.
I don't think, like, obviously, like, I think we all like, well, I think the majority of people would like say, if I make this much money, then I'll be able to do what I want and then I'll be happy. But
I think interestingly enough, it's actually again not about that person alone. It's about he does this for social validation.
right.
He does that because he wants to be assured that the people around him think highly of him.
Hmm.
Right. That is that is the reason why people are like, okay, so this person bought this, now I need to get something better to be to move on to the next level. And that is where people go wrong. They start comparing their life with others, and on, so basically focus on materialistic things, and that is where they go wrong. So I personally am someone who likes experiences, right? So if if I have a chance, okay, I can buy a car with the money, or I can go for this trip with the right people. I choose the right trip with the right people, because if we actually think about it even a bit, something like a car, the memory or the happiness of having that car would go away in like a month after buying that car. You wouldn't really be as excited as you were, right, when you first bought it. But as far as the trip goes, uh, that trip would be it would probably be a worth a lot more, because you'd go for the trip, you'd enjoy there, and you'll have memories for a lifetime. You'll have memories to cherish.
Hmm.
So that is something I believe, because okay, I'll give you a very simple thing. So after a month, if you look at your car, you might not smile, but after a month, if you look at the photos or the memories, there'll be a smile on your face.
Hmm.
So I think that people should crave, but they crave the other things.
I can 100% relate with that because about a year and a half ago, I bought a brand new car, and I was like, I spent like a good amount of money, and I'm still making like monthly payments on
Yeah,
it, but it's it's been a year and a half, and now I'm like it's expensive, and I want to sell it because like I don't need it. I don't,
right.
you know, and I didn't, at the time I was like, I don't have a car, I need a car. Like, what kind of car am I gonna get? And I could have gone out, and bought a used car, and that would have been fine. Like, it gets me to and from work and wherever I need to go, and that's all I
Exactly.
need. But instead I went, to the car dealership and bought a really expensive car. I mean, it's a Honda Civic, like it's not a super expensive car, but
Right.
it's, for me, it's a lot of money. And you're right, after a certain amount of time the excitement wears off, and then you're like, oh,
Exactly.
it's just a car. That's all it is.
Exactly.
And you know as a kid, we would go on like family vacations pretty often, like to go, visiting family, or, go to like an amusement park, or something along those lines. And, they were fun. They were a lot of fun. But I don't think I like fully appreciated them as a kid. And now if I, go on vacation or go on a trip, or, do something, I find that I enjoy it a lot more, and I make a point to like have a good time. Like if you're a kid and you go on vacation with your family, and like you don't get to do exactly what you want to do, you're going to get mad and upset, and like,
Right.
I want to do this and I can't do this. So, now I'm not having a good time. But,
Exactly.
now that I'm older, I realize that like you just have to let things happen. You just
Right.
like you cannot control the external world. Like you can control you and how you react, and
Exactly.
how you perceive the world. And that's, we touched on that earlier, like that's the game changer right there. Like that's how you get out of your own way, and you start to, alleviate some of the negativity in your life.
Exactly.
So what like what are your plans for, I mean, I don't know if you have like a set plan, but like what would you like to do after you graduate from college?
Uh, so basically, if I go that way, what I'd say is, as of now, obviously, I'm doing my degree, right? So as far as the future is concerned, I'd say I have three options, right? So going by the first one is, I can probably get a job and then work there, but that is obviously the least happiest option of them all. So I try to avoid that. The second one is, I might get into event management. Reason being because I really like doing that. I really like leading a team, and I really like managing and organizing events. And I say this because I have done so. Obviously not like very large events, but I've done quite a few events, and so that can be one way, one path to follow. And the other one could be obviously the project that I'm. So if that becomes a success, if people are liking it, so I'd probably go ahead and make that my career. And the reason for that would be, it's more about the two people that I'm working with. It's more about them, that I'd like to be with them and spend more time with them. So that's as far as my life is concerned. I mean, to you it might sound like I'm not at all very clear about it, but it's just about, I have options in mind. I have things planned, that okay, if this doesn't work out, I'm doing this. This doesn't work out, I'm doing this. So
Right.
that's pretty much it.
Well, I
And
think,
as of now, I'm just focusing on skills, like
yeah,
just getting new skill, learning things. That's it.
I think it's a good idea to have um like multiple areas that you could go, you know, like you could follow your degree, or you could do event management, or you could continue working with these people and this project and maybe other projects in the future. Um, but I think it's real hard to like have your entire life figured out. And
True.
I don't think we should, until, we have more life experience, and
Exactly.
even then, there's a lot of people that are much older than we are, and they still don't have any idea, you know, and
Exactly.
the fact that you have some idea, like that there are certain things that interest you, and those are like on your radar, like these are things that you want to learn more about and dive into a little deeper. Like that's really, that's all that matters, as long as you know what interests you, what makes you happy, and that you pursue those things. That's all you need.
Exactly. So that's what I'm trying to do. So let's see how it goes.
Yeah, I have a good feeling, man. So, I mean, I'm curious. Like, I don't know if there's any way to compare, but like, I don't know, really anything about India or Kuwait, and I don't know how much
Right.
you know about the United States, but it's I'm trying to think here, like, what if I could think of like some kind of idea for comparison. So I think the schooling system is about the same, right? You said you're halfway done with college and you're 20 years old, so that's pretty much
Right.
the same. You're you guys
I
use
think it's more about the culture difference. I believe the culture is very different.
yeah.
That is one thing. The
Uh,
major
it,
difference.
is are like the standards for behavior, are they very strict? Like, are you supposed to act a certain way or present yourself in a certain way, like in
Mhm.
traditional culture?
Okay, so I'll start with India. So India is a democracy, right? So here there are no restrictions. You can do whatever you want. You can behave however the way you want, right? No one's gonna say anything. So that is more or less about India. But obviously, because of this freedom, this much freedom, there will be points of conflict. There will be points where there'll be fights, there'll be riots. So they do happen to some extent. But as far as India is concerned, it's completely free. You have freedom over anything, right? Going back to Kuwait, it's not free, right? They have their standard set of rules which you have to follow, and which you cannot just let go of. So that's as far as Kuwait is concerned. So they do have a defined set of rules, and that's specifically for the people who are not residents of Kuwait.
Okay, so if you move there and you're not a resident, it's more strict.
Yeah, you can't be a resident, so you cannot get their citizenship. It's only the people who only Kuwaitis, only they can, obviously they are the citizens. No one else can get the citizen, not even if you're born there. So only if you have Kuwaiti parents, you are a Kuwaiti citizen.
Huh.
That's how it works.
Okay. What and you said that India is a democracy. What is Kuwait? What type of government do they have over there?
So Kuwait functions on, basically they have a king right now, they have a crown prince, and
Okay, gotcha.
basically.
Hmm. That's interesting. I, really, the only thing I know about India, is from watching, maybe like documentaries or stuff on the news.
Mhm.
Um, but it's like more and more like higher up on my list of things to do is to travel, right? And
Right.
I want to at some point go to like all seven continents and and go as many places as I can.
Right.
And I would say, as of last year, maybe like I put India like a little higher up on the list because it's there's so many people, right, in India.
Right.
It's right, there's like a massive population there.
There's a
and
lot.
and I feel that if there's so many people from the planet centered in one area, like there's got to be a lot of incredible things there. I'm sure there's there's a lot of, and going with that, there's probably a lot of negative things there as well. But
Exactly. Completely agree with you.
there's it would be interesting for me to like see you know such a on such a massive scale, like all of these people, all of these different like for one, a completely different society. Like I've never like I live at my mom's house. I just moved back in here a couple months ago, but I've never really lived anywhere other than where I grew up, and so I don't know anything different.
Okay.
And
Right.
I don't like, I want to go out and like explore more of the world, and so that I can learn
Mhm.
more about the world and about myself at the same time, you know?
Right.
If
I think you
you
give
go
India a
ahead.
visit. Sorry? No, I was just saying you should give India a visit then.
Yeah, yeah, man. I think it would be a lot of fun.
Yeah.
Um, what about you? Like if you could travel anywhere, where would you go?
Mhm. So I wouldn't say I have like a specific place in mind, right? So I believe in this simple thing, right? It's not about the place that you travel to; it's about the people that you travel with. So solo trips are a different thing, right? But if you're traveling with the right people, they can make any place fun.
Mm,
So
yeah, I agree.
I'm more about that. Go to any place, that's okay. Go with the right people.
Mm,
That's all that matters for me. So the place becomes secondary. So as of now, I don't have like a specific place in mind. Okay, I have to go there or I have to do that. But it's more of the people. But yeah, even then, if you say like if there's specifically one place that I like to visit, so it's in India. I really want to go to Leh and Ladakh. Reason being, it's really beautiful. Like if you see the pictures, uh, it's amazing. It's there's snow, there's lakes, and like those lakes are really beautiful. So that's one place I'd like to go.
I never pictured, India having snow.
They do a lot of places, in fact.
Really? Huh.
Yes, a lot.
I think it's super obviously you're passionate about this, right? Because you brought it up multiple times. Like the people that you surround yourself with are key,
Right.
right?
And
And
this was more. I realized this basically. I think at the end of the first year that I need to surround myself with the right people, and I need to spend more time with them. So this was not like an. This was not long time back. When I thought about this. So this was basically after the end of my first year. I realized that.
yeah, yeah, it's for a long time I did not do that. Like I
Right.
surrounded myself with like the worst people, and it took a lot. It took years for me to figure that out, and you know, like start to eliminate the negativity. And now I have like a very small group of friends. Like
Right.
I would say like 3 to 5 people,
I think I
and
think I think that's the best.
yeah,
Like so having a small group of friends and the people that who truly care about you and who you care about truly is the best way to go about it, because it's because of them that you stop wasting your time in life as well. If you're surrounded by the wrong people, if you're surrounded by a lot of people, there are very high chances that you'd be wasting your time.
mhm,
And I believe I've realized over time that time is pretty precious, so do not waste it.
yeah,
you know be with the right people, spend time with them, and focus on other things that you want to do.
yeah. Time. I mean, time is arguably like the most precious resource that we have. You know,
Exactly.
it. We could. There's like an argument to be made, like, and I did this for a little while. Like, I prioritized money over time. Like, I worked 2 full-time jobs, and I was making good money, and I was saving money, but I had zero time to do anything. And
Right.
now, like I'm not working right now because of the pandemic, but
Right.
it's an incredible feeling to be able to have the time to do what you want with who
Exactly.
you want, and
Exactly.
you can only sacrifice that for so long before it takes a huge toll on you. And then you may, like, if you get stuck in that cycle of just wasting all of your time, and then you look back and it's been 10 years and all you've been doing is working and working, and or maybe even worse than that is like not doing anything, just hanging out with the wrong
Right.
people, getting into trouble, and you can't get that time back.
Exactly. So that's I mean, that's something that I completely agree with you, and I can even relate to that because right now even I feel I have all the time in the world to do whatever I want, and at times I still feel okay, the time is less. So completely relate with you, man.
Yeah, yeah, man. It's these are interesting times. I think because of this pandemic, and everyone's on lockdown, and I think there's two types of people in this current situation. There's people that are looking at it like, I want things to go back to normal. This sucks. I don't like it. This is, and I'm speaking from people that are like,
Yeah,
that are unaffected by
yeah.
the virus, that people that are just
Right, right, right.
complaining, and then there's the other side that are like, okay, what, like, first of all, how can I make the most out of this? And second, what can I do that I haven't been doing, that I've told myself I was going to do, but I told myself I didn't have the time to do it, right? Well,
Right.
now we have the time. And like
I mean,
this, you know,
if you see it all actually boils down to seeing the positive of everything.
mhm.
Uh, Even if you see this pandemic, you can see the negative side and crib, or see the positive side and do what you want to. Right. So I think everything in life comes down to this one thing, that how you see a particular situation.
I agree. And I think it's awesome that you're like, you just finished your second year of school, and now you could be like, oh, I wanted to go home, and now I'm my flight was delayed or canceled, and now I'm just sitting here and I'm not doing anything. But like, you decided like, okay, this is the perfect time to start working on this project that I want to
And
work
the
on.
perfect situation.
Right, exactly.
Right.
That's great, man. I think that's all I got, my friend. You have
Yeah.
anything else you want to say? Anything else you want to talk about?
I think we can go back to this one thing, that how this is one thing that we missed.
Oh, sure, yeah, yeah.
After school, when I shifted to college, how did I change myself? How did that transition come? From when uh, I dealt with things like I was fat, and
Mhm.
it's balding and those things, and to where I am today. I think we can talk about that.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, go ahead.
Okay, so if I get started, so my school ended, and I came back to India. So before my college started, there were, I think, 2 months, I believe, 2.5 months before college started. So I was very passionate about cricket, and so I joined a cricket coaching, and I used to obviously go for that. So that's where my weight loss really occurred. So I lost around 15 kgs in like 1.5 months. That's it. So and actually, so this was as far as the weight loss problem was concerned. That okay, work hard, get rid of it. That's fine. But coming to the how I dealt with my brain at that point of time. So when I shifted back to India, I obviously didn't have anyone around. Like as far as friends are concerned, right? I didn't really know people because I hadn't lived there for
Mm.
such a long time. So that was like a perfect time to just focus on myself, just think about my thoughts, just think about okay, what's going on in my life, and that was something that helped me to some extent, help me realize okay, where I was wrong in my life. Whatever people were thinking shouldn't matter to me. And another thing was, which in school, which I used to do was I wanted to be always in the famous group of students. If you kind of know, right, the famous, the popular guys in school. So I wanted to be in that group, so in a way you can say I was kind of desperate to be, right? So these are all things that, I tried to change. So that 2.5 month break, I think, helped me to some extent, but it was more about the first semester of college, the first 6 months of college. When I came, actually, the first 6 months of college, so I didn't really talk to anyone, right? The first 6 months of college were like, I was in my room. I used to talk with probably with my roommates, right, and the people in my hostel, and but that was it, right? Then you go to class, come back to your room from class, and that's it. So minimal interaction with people, right? Just trying to change myself, change my thought process and everything. And then came the second semester of college, when I started, mingling with people more, and getting back to how I normally was and stuff. And that is when I realized that, okay, I had changed a lot, and changed a lot for the better. So this was one thing that, I can say, I think the best thing in my life till now, going through that process, just trying to capture my thoughts. Okay, what's going on around me, how are these things affecting me, and realizing that, okay, this is nothing, it's actually nothing, it's not affecting me at all. So why do I even care about these things? It did take a long time to, get over them, because it's a slow process, not something that, you get over in a day.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that's as much as, how I changed from, from someone who was scared of people judging him, or who was a bit desperate to talk to people, to be in the famous group. How I changed from that to, where I am now. Now I'm like completely carefree,
So
still.
so this period of like self isolation,
Right.
what did you do to try and change these thought patterns? Like you would just sit there and like try to like sit with your thoughts and try to like work through them little by little.
So as far as I remember, I did not do anything specific that I could, tell, okay, this is what I did. This
Mhm.
is, like I sat here and I thought about this, and this is how I changed it. But it was more about, interacting with very less people, right? So that you do not have a lot of other things coming in. And, just so, okay, let's take it this way. So for example, I'm just sitting, I'm doing some work, or maybe I'm going for a walk, or anything of that sort. So these thoughts do come in your mind, right? A lot of random thoughts will come up in your mind, and thoughts relating to these will definitely come up. So I wasn't someone like, okay, I wasn't waiting for them to come up, but whenever they did, I used to think about them. Okay, this is what happened, this is how I can see the positive alternate, this is how I can tackle it, and this is how I should take it forward. So I think that process, or that period of 6 months was more like this, that, I didn't force anything upon me, but it was more about, whenever those thoughts came up, I tried to deal with them, right? I let them come in, I absorbed them, I thought, okay, this is how I can deal with them, it's not affecting me. And that is how I eventually, got over them. So it's not about, forcing yourself, or forcing your body to do something, forcing yourself to think, okay, this is what I got to do, this is how I got to avoid it. That's never going to work. It all has to be natural and smooth, right? If it's not coming to you from within, you cannot change it.
Mm.
So that was basically what I did.
That's a very good point. I think, a lot of people, we tend to get in our own way, and
Exactly.
we try to, overanalyze or overthink, and sometimes you just have to like take a step back and just let things happen. And
Exactly.
you know, you can you made an interesting point. You didn't word it quite this way, but like what you were basically saying is like you are not your thoughts. Like you have thoughts,
Exactly.
but you are not your
Exactly.
thoughts. You can have a
Exactly.
thought, and you can be like, oh, okay, here's this thought. What does it mean? Nothing. Okay, throw it away. And and that's massively important.
Exactly. Exactly. So that's pretty much what I do. And like I think even now, whenever I face a situation, and a situation can be anything. It can be, for example, if I talk in a student's life, it can be something like you face a rejection from a company for maybe your intern or for your placement, or it can be something like you get bad marks, right? So I think at that point of time, it's about how you deal. So I'll share a personal experience. What happened. So back this December, I believe, I got my third semester results, right? And they weren't up to the mark, and I obviously wasn't happy. So when I had got those marks, right, I was sitting and I was thinking, okay, what did I do? I'm gonna get a really bad impression. And this at this point, let me tell you in advance. It wasn't about anyone else, because I had gotten over that phase. It was about myself. That it was about, okay, me as a person. I don't like this about myself, right? I let myself down. It's not about letting anyone else down.
Mm.
So I think, and that is much tougher to deal with,
Oh yes.
right?
Mm-hmm.
So at that point, so I was thinking, I was sad for a day or two. Okay, this is what I did. How did I get bad marks? I tried my best, and this is what happened, and all of that. Things going around. And at one point, what came out was, okay, let's not think about this. What is the positive side of it? A positive, as in positive, does not really have to be. I mean, this situation didn't really have any positive, right? It was just that you got bad marks. It's over. There's no positive to it, but it's about how you can improve that, or how you can change it in the future, right? So I was like, okay, I got bad marks. That's okay. These were the reasons due to which I got bad marks, right? Maybe some of them were, okay, I didn't prepare well, or this I didn't do this particular method of preparing, or anything, can be anything. So I was like, okay, so from now on, when I'm gonna do this, I'm gonna rectify this. And I don't know if you'll believe it or not, but that sudden moment, that feeling of regret, or that feeling of I let myself down and everything was gone. And it was purely because I had looked at the positive side of it, and the positive side was, okay, I realized what I did wrong. I'm really not worried about my result now. I'm more worried about improving myself. So a lot of people also, forget this. What gives them stress, or what makes them sad, is the result, right? But it's actually very important not to focus on the result, but it's more important to focus on the process. How you have gone through that whole process. Okay, if it didn't work out, what didn't work out? Just find that and apply that in the next thing. It's as simple as that. So, but people take it, if they don't get one particular result, then their life is over. That's exactly not how life works. Life is like really, really long. So
Mm-hmm. It should, man. It's about the process. It's not about the results. That is,
exactly.
whew, man. If I could teach my younger self that, whew, that's I think that's, so many people have these expectations. We set these expectations, and when we don't get
Exactly.
them, then we think that all hope
We
is lost.
failed. Exactly.
Right?
We're failed in life, but you haven't failed. You're just getting another chance to succeed. You're getting
Right.
another chance to learn, right? I mean, this is one thing that I've realized, and one thing that I've noticed. For example, for a person who's maybe never undergone any type of failure, or like hasn't undergone like a major failure. He's if you take in a case of a student, he's always been the perfect student. He's got marks. He's got everything going the right way. At one point, when he grows up and he suddenly faces any type of failure, it'll be very tough for him to deal with it, because he hasn't gone through anything of that, and he's had that thing that, okay, I cannot fail. I'm always going to succeed. So it's always about the mindset. You need to be ready to fail. You need to be ready to learn from those things and then move on. But if someone who hasn't really experienced failure, if he fails suddenly and he does not have that right mindset, he's gone there. He's gonna live his own life believing, not even believing, just thinking, okay, how did I fail at that particular moment? Why did it happen with me? What did I do wrong? And that's where, time just goes, and then you've spoiled your life. So by the time you realize it, you've lost a major part of your life.
Hmm.
So it's very
Yeah.
important to realize that.
Yeah. The mindset, man. Mindset is everything.
Yeah, exactly.
My friend, this was a lot of fun. I'm glad we did it.
Yeah, same here.
um, so I want to obviously like we can like stay in contact. I'll let you know when this will come out. It'll be a few
Yeah,
weeks,
sure.
but I'm excited to see how this project works out that you're working on, because I think there's
Exactly. I'm gonna keep you, in touch. And so going by that, if I have to tell you one thing, we're also planning a podcast section in our platform, and that podcast is very different from normal podcasts. So what we're trying to do is we're going to be focusing on very specific experiences of people, of people's life. Like if I go by my life, for example, I'd say I wanted to become a cricketer back in school, right? So if I'm doing that podcast, it will not be about my general life, but it'll be just about, okay, I wanted to become a cricketer. What are the situations that happened around me? Why did I not become a cricketer? And what forced me to just give it up and all of that. So, and the reason for this is, I believe, why we came up with this particular thing was, we realized that, if I wanted to become a cricketer, I go up on the net, I'll get hundreds or thousands of sites telling me that, okay, do this, you'll become a cricketer, do this, you'll become, a great cricketer and all of that. But there are very, very few sites, or in fact, it's actually scattered all over different sites, that people tell you their experience, that I wanted to become this, but this is the reason I did not become. This is what happened with me. These are the specific things that happened, which led me to not becoming, or these were the things that happened, and due to which I could become. So I think if I'm following a particular field, as a person, it's very important for me to learn from others' experiences. That's one very important thing. So that's one thing that we are focusing on that, and I'll be very honest. I'd really like to have you on board. You can help us with that.
yeah,
It'll be
dude, I would love to do that for sure. I would help in any way that I
exactly,
can.
exactly. So
Cool.
that's as far as So we'll start doing that process, but I'm not too sure when we start. Maybe in like month or two. So
Hmm.
let's see. But
Yeah, man,
I'll keep you notified. I really want you to be there.
for sure. Yeah,
Really,
that would be awesome. I'd be honored to do that.
yeah.
All right, my
It's gonna
friend.
be,
Um, we're gonna wrap it up.
yeah, sure.
This this was great. I'm really glad we did this, and
Same here.
yeah, we'll get this up in a few weeks, and that's all she wrote.
Yeah, let's stay in touch.
Yeah,
Got
sure.
amazing.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, my
Bye.
friends. Signing out.
Yeah, bye.
See you later.